Have you ever thought that death is something that we most definitely have? Something that is most ours? We cannot be as certain about any other thing in our lives as we are about our own mortality. Everyone's going to die at some point. This is the fact we're learning to live with since very young age. When you're alone in your bedroom, if you concentrate on the silence in the dark, you would feel there is something approaching. Memento mori, remember that you have to die, a Latin phrase that for many is a meaningful reminder of their finitude. But what meaning does death give us? Isn't it just a plague or a disease that is to be cured? Or simply something irrelevant? A part of natural order. Throughout the history, there were many different approaches to the problem of death. In this video, covering some fragments from the philosophy of Martin Heidegger and introducing Leo Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich, I suggest to take a look at one approach that sees death not as an ending place, but as the place of beginning of human existence. The phrase I used in the title of this chapter actually stems from a Russian punk rock song. It goes like this: death is such a place where you love and you don't lie. Death is Homeland. I found it to be surprisingly similar to the ideas we'll uncover later in this video, both to Heidegger's and Tolstoy's. Let's start with Martin Heidegger. Martin Heidegger is a 20th century German philosopher who is often considered an existentialist, even though he himself did not like that title. Nevertheless, his philosophical explorations are tightly bound to the search of meaning in our existence. The philosophy of Martin Heidegger is complex and covers a lot of different topics. Here we will only focus on his view on death and how the meanings in our lives are inseparable from our mortality. To prepare the ground, let's begin with a thought experiment. Imagine that you could live forever. You would have time to do anything you dreamt of. You could spend 100 years on becoming the best in whatever you like to do now. Painting, singing, curing people, playing computer games, acting. You would have a good amount of time to advance in any of those activities. You could spend another 100 years on traveling the world, exploring all the remotest places on Earth, or trying delicacies in the countries you would have never even heard about if you had lived for a limited time. The idea here is that you might think it would actually be great to live for eternity. Who haven't thought about becoming a vampire for once? The thing is, according to Heidegger, it would actually be a disaster if we were immortal, because mortality is what defines the essence of who we are. All the nicest moments that you had in life, Christmas with parents, first love, friendship, graduation, all of that was possible only due to the fact that you were born mortal. All the important choices that you made in your life are important due to the fact that you have to die. If you were not to die, why would you even need to make choices? With unlimited time, you could do unlimited number of things. So then why choose anything at all? The whole idea of choice loses its meaning. So from here it follows that death is not just a natural part of life, nor a disease, nor a tragic event. Death is something that makes life worth living. Another important point to mention is that we cannot really know what is coming after we die. All the answers hold the same level of seriousness, from Greek idea of underworld, Christian hell and heaven, to even atheistic idea of nothingness. All the theories lack evidence, and sticking to any of them is simply a matter of belief. Some atheists might argue that, according to the Occam's razor principle, entities must not be multiplied beyond necessity, so the idea of nothingness is the most rational one because it's the simplest. However, introducing nothingness can be seen as the very multiplication of essences, because in our lives we obviously don't face anything that is even close to the idea of nothingness. So there is in fact no nothingness, or at least no evidence for the existence of that. Therefore, it is just another interpretation among many of the possible ones of what happens after we die. To know for sure, we would need to ask a dead person, which is impossible. People don't come back from the dead. If they do so, they were not really dead. So death can be seen as a horizon beyond which there is mystery. That is basically the way Heidegger sees death. A particular horizon, or the border to which our existence is attached, but which it would never cross, not while we exist. Now that we have made things a bit clearer, it is important to mention distinctions between two ways of being in the world that Heidegger draws. It will also be important for our further exploration of the death of Ivan Ilyich. One of the ways of being in the world is called das Man, the state of being fallen into them. What is meant here is basically the normal condition when we just live our lives, play social roles, participate in the activities other people do, and don't really pay attention to the fact that all that is the product of us being mortal. It is one of the aspects of the human way of being. In it, we're always ahead of ourselves. We understand our activity in the present as something that brings a possible way to be in the future. Imagine you wake up in the morning and head to the kitchen. You fill the kettle with water and turn it on, understanding this is the first step to make a cup of coffee. Preparing the coffee makes sense as part of enjoying a warm drink and getting more energy for the day. From there, you open your laptop and begin checking your messages or watching a YouTube video. Doing this is a way to stay informed or socialized. Ultimately, everything we do here makes sense in terms of what we can be. In this scenario, we don't really arrive anywhere. So long as an individual human being is, there is always something ahead or not yet settled. Another way to put it is to say that a human being is incomplete, not ever fully present to itself. Heidegger calls such existence inauthentic. Another state is Sein zum Tode, or being towards death, the state in which we realize our finitude and the impending nature of death. At this moment, we can clearly see that everything that matters to us in our life would not have mattered at all were we thrown into a different epoch or a different world. We become less absorbed in our ordinary activities, less concerned with expectations of other people, and feeling dread or fear in the face of the mysterious ending. We focus on our own existence, which is only ours. Heidegger calls it the authentic way of being. This distinction is extremely important for to become the true versions of ourselves, and therefore to live our lives the way we're supposed to, is only possible when embracing the meanings illumined by death. Let's now move to Tolstoy's story, The Death of Ivan Ilyich, to further illustrate what we have just discussed. I read it not long ago when reflecting on the question of mortality. It just randomly popped up in my mind. I found the book and I absolutely loved it. I recommend everyone who is curious about existential questions to read it. The book is short and easy to understand, but covers some profound topics. Luckily, I can read Russian in the original, but I'm absolutely sure it's possible to find really nice translations. So let me know in the comments if you need some help with that. Ivan Ilyich is a highly regarded official of the Court of Justice, an intelligent, polished, lively, and agreeable man. Like everyone he knows, he spends his time climbing the social ladder. Enduring marriage to a woman whom he often finds too demanding, he works his way up to be a magistrate. He focuses more on his work as his family life becomes less tolerable. While hanging curtains in his home one day, he falls from the ladder and hurts his side. It does not seem to be serious at first, but gradually, over the story, he suffers more and more from the pain there. He visits a physician, but does not get the diagnosis. Along with the development of his pain, his relationships with family become worse. He gets irritable and unhappy. Unexpected to him, his condition does not get better, and the doctors don't know how to cure him. Until the very last moment, Ivan would not really confront the possibility of him dying. He would be thinking about his life, how he needs to do certain things, how he hates certain people, or how it would all be better when he is cured. Tolstoy interestingly mentions how we normally don't realize such a basic truth about our existence, the fact that we are mortal. We usually think we do. We see people dying all the time, we understand that we are also people, but somehow it feels that it does not apply to us. Ivan Ilyich says it about himself, that for some reason he just never truly tried on this idea of being mortal. He lived in a state of das Man. His whole life was inauthentic. He did not really choose what he was choosing in life. It all was dictated by external factors, social rules, standards, expectations. Only in the final days of his life it strikes him. He will die. He himself. No one else. This moment of realization might have been the first truly authentic moment in Ivan Ilyich's life. It's when for the very first time he really became himself. Along the way, a sequence of horrifying truths crashed onto him. Everything he did was wrong. Marrying his wife, climbing the social ladder, even choosing the wallpaper for his apartment was merely a matter of conformity. It was not him who made the decisions. He lived an artificial life, not being responsible for his own choices. In the end of the book, Tolstoy raises the theme of Christian compassion and sympathy, and it seems that the character makes the conclusion that he did not pay enough attention to these things in his life. That's why he thinks it turned out to be so tragic. However, it does not really contradict the Heideggerian interpretation of what happened to Ivan Ilyich. The parallels are obvious. Living unaware of the death makes life meaningless. Embracing life as being towards death illumines everything and brings meaning to our existence. Plato, the greatest philosopher, in his dialogue Phaedo, defined philosophy as a practice of preparation for the death. All religions have interpretation of death and afterlife, and this is not a coincidence. Memento mori is not an expression of lifestyle or personal preference. This phrase is a magical gateway into the essence of ourselves. Those who run from death will never live. Those who look death straight in the eyes begin their journey. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps me to make more content like this, exploring themes in literature and philosophy. See you next time.